Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Techcast. I'm Nine.
I'm 4.
Two.
Today we have another week of hard-hitting tech news to hit you with. It's been kind of kind of light. We're holiday season starting to wrap up. We've leftovers are finally out of the refrigerator or thrown out. So we're starting to
Thrown out. I finished all mine. I'm fat.
Yeah,
so
so
I said ate up or throw out. It depends who we are.
But we made with leftover turkey? My mom made a turkey pot pie. It was delicious.
Ooh,
Bro, have you guys ever had leftover mashed potatoes?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
It's better than the original day, man.
I feel like I'm the only one. I didn't eat leftovers. I'm the only one here that didn't eat leftovers.
Yeah, probably.
Well, anyway, that's not the topic today's week. Today we got a bunch of new stories and some surprising ones too. I'm going to warn you right now. A lot of it are Apple related. They just really.
Of course.
But let's hit it real quick. First one right away. It's Warner Brothers, and they really stirred up the movie industry, and specifically for movie theaters. Sadly, so Warner Brothers are trying to smash box office windows, right? And they stated for the whole year of 2021, they're going to have their new releases released simultaneously with theaters and HBO Max.
Oh man!
So this is huge. This was announced this past Thursday. They say for 17 of their movies, which include movies such as The Suicide Squad, The Matrix 4, Godzilla, Tom and Jerry, Space Jam: A New Legacy.
There was a Sopranos movie too.
Sopranos movie, yep. They're all going to be coming out.
Most importantly, on Christmas Day, Wonder Woman 1984 will also be in theaters and on HBO Max.
Yes, so that's going to kick it off. That's going to kick off this whole year of HBO simultaneous releases. It used to be that was only going to be Wonder Woman, right? Now it seems like it's going to be for the whole 2021. They're saying that it's not because they believe that theaters are going to be so closed or kind of like isolated for the whole year, but they want to be sure, they want to prepare, they want to have some sort of, they want to ensure that all these movies get a good enough audience and stuff like that. But it's a huge release. It's a huge change. Most importantly, it's only going to be for a month. So it's going to release on HBO Max for a month and it's going to be gone. So it's a timely release. But if you have HBO Max, you're good to go.
Yeah, so I'll say this, right? HBO Max is really up and coming. You know, we talked about the Fresh Prince documentary that's coming out on there, as well as now all these things. Now, to the average consumer, this may seem like just a insane move, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I put my business hat on for a second. I go, well, why the hell would they want to do this, right? Considering they make so much movie off the theaters, right? So I looked a little deeper into it, and it turns out Warner Brothers, HBO Max, are all owned under the same corporation of AT&T. So it turns out that actually all of those assets combined are actually just benefiting each of the businesses inside AT&T, which makes this a genius move from a corporate strategy perspective. But to the naked consumer, it seems like, oh, wow, they're really betraying the theaters. When in reality, it's just one company scratching, where it's just one aspect of a company scratching the back of the other aspect of the company. So it's actually very interesting that I discovered that the other day. So,
but they don't own like the theater chains like AMC and all those.
They don't own the theater chains, but again, the theater chains really just have land and just have the theaters, right?
Yep.
It's all the like movies and the actual like things they present come from Warner Media and other movie studios, right? So
Well, like, think about it. It's a very simple question, right? Like, okay, they're all owned by the same people. And either we can go to theaters and have people spend, $10 a ticket to go in and see the show, or we'll just have people subscribe to HBO Max for however many dollars a month, and bam, now we just get that revenue directly, and the theaters don't even get a cut.
Yeah, it's honestly they're cutting the middleman out here, right? So it's kind of it's something people never thought of before that may actually happen. And do I think theaters are going to go away? Absolutely not, right?
Yep.
Because not everyone has like a TV at home that they could do a whole like home theater kind of thing with, right? I mean, everyone has a smartphone, so I guess you could just watch it on your phones. But like at the same time, the theater experience is something that people are willing to pay for. Do I think it's going to be at a premium now? Yeah, I definitely think movie ticket prices are going to 100% go up, right? Because just the limited audience and everything that's going to happen there. But it's an interesting move in a unique direction. I don't know really like if for movie theaters or stuff like that, will it ever actually go back to normal?
I mean, I don't know if it will. I got to tell you, like, I know that there's a couple theaters by me that are closed now, like closed for good. They've shut their doors.
Closed?
Yep.
Yeah, like the one major theater by me, right? It's still there. It's still open and operating. It's an AMC, but it's I don't know what the future holds for it, right? It actually got renovated a few years ago, so it's all like those nice recliner seats and everything. But I don't know. I really don't know what the future holds for that theater.
Well,
But
we'll see. We'll have to move on, right? It leaves movie theaters question up in the air, and their future is more uncertain than ever. But who knows? I still think that a movie theater experience is still something to be hold of and hopefully be preserved. But we'll see. Next thing on the agenda, PlayStation 5.
Mhm.
Now, this is a really weird story that when I read it. So a lot of people, a lot of influencers, reviewers got review units, right? This happens a lot of times.
Yeah, happens all the time. Yeah.
Well, one particular, I think a Brazilian YouTuber realized that his review unit and his retail unit was sounding very differently. So it was the review unit was way quieter than the what's it called, retail unit, right? So he was trying to figure it out. He opened it up and he realized the fans were very different, and the actual retail review unit fans actually had more blades.
Mm-hmm.
So what this basically means, because it has what's it called, more blades, right?
Yeah.
What's it called? It's smoother, right? And then since the other one has less blades, the ones you're purchasing in the stores and stuff like that, it needs more power to get the same cooling effect. So it ramps up, so the sound goes up. So that's what's been going on. People have been trying to realize why they're doing this and stuff like that. Sony hasn't gone back. What do you guys think about this?
Cheaper parts. Honestly, it's probably cheaper for the manufacturer.
It's probably like 30 cents less per unit or whatever, and then multiply that across a scale of like tens of millions of PS5s, and it's like, multi-million-dollar profit increase. And I mean, like, that's not surprising.
And at the same time, I see a PS5 Pro coming out within a year or two, and it's gonna emphasize, it's a quieter system, right? Like, when in reality, they're just using the more expensive fans.
No, the question is, right? This is a really important question this brings up. Do you think it's misleading that, because the review units were pretty much the first in the wave to, like, tell the, people who are looking to buy one what to expect and stuff like that. And to be fair, that these reviewers and these influencers were telling what they assumed to be true, right? And a lot of them, I remember when the new units were coming in, they were like, "Oh, it's so quiet," because that was a big complaint that the PS4 had a big issue. It was so loud. It sounded like a jet. Remember those memes, like it's a jet engine going off and stuff like that. So a lot of people were really happy to hear these units being very quiet and stuff. But now there's a difference. Do you think that's misleading? What do you guys think about that?
I mean, a little bit. Like, I mean, you send out these review units to reviewers, and like, at that point, I mean, people, I guess, are expecting you to not downgrade any parts. Any future changes should be making the unit better, not making it worse. So, I mean, do I think it's a little bit misleading? I mean, quite possibly, yeah. Like, everyone's going to be buying consoles based on those reviews, so...
100%.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that, but at the same time, like, it's like, I'm always one that waits for the actual consumers, piece to get out, and I never try to get a piece of technology day one because of these reasons and stuff like that. So, I don't know. You can say it's misleading for most people, but to be honest with you, does it really affect that many people? No, and that's because of all the scalpers and stuff, right? It's a whole other topic in itself. But,
to be fair, you can even get your hands on a PS5 right now, so...
Yeah, it's a very limited, I think, group of people who actually got a PS5, unless you bought it off a scalper for like $1,000. So, does it affect the mass majority of Sony consumers? No.
Right? It's fine. It's just interesting. It's just very interesting to see this.
It's just an interesting point to bring up from, that perspective. Now, it could also be, maybe I'm wrong here, or maybe we're wrong here, that it might not be like a corporate strategy thing, but maybe they just ran out of the nicer fans, right? Maybe that poor Brazilian YouTuber just lucked out and got like the shitty PS5 version.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one was a better version.
I'd like to see more on that.
It could be.
Right?
We'll see. We'll see. They said they're ramping up production. They're going to try to bring out more PS5s in the next coming years and months. So we'll see. That'll be actually really good intel to see what's coming in. But anyway, let's move on to our next thing. This is a big one. Facebook acquired consumer with a K for $1 billion.
Wait, that's a big deal. And what the hell is this company?
So, I know for the average consumer, this doesn't mean much, right? But this is a forward trend that's going on with a lot of tech companies. They're buying up these customer service kind of startups and companies, right? So basically, what this is that it allows customer service teams better data and more unified version of people they're interacting with. So it allows more easy use or interaction for the customer service section of Facebook, right? So now Facebook can improve their offerings for businesses that have a presence in their ecosystem. And it's confirmed that the price is $1 billion. So the reason this is kind of big is because earlier this month, Snapchat bought a company called Versa.ai, which is another startup that creates AI-based voice agents for call centers. So there's this trend that's going on that they're trying to really improve the customer service aspect of their tech companies and for businesses and clients alike. So what do you guys think about this?
No, it's interesting. Very interesting. I guess from a customer service perspective, like I just hate talking to bots. Like I hope they bring people in.
Yeah, same.
But like the bots I feel like are just useless.
Well, this company isn't the Snapchat one was a bot. This one is not. This is more about like organizing data for customer service and having a more unified dashboard to interact with people. So this is still the human touch for something.
So is this a data mining company also?
I don't know. This is still relatively new. This came out of really nowhere. This wasn't anything for them to purchase. And like I said, the company isn't a big, like a up and coming company. It's just a startup that was focusing on customer service, and improving it. So
I kind of agree with you on this one, right? Like I would say any improvement to those customer service bots is always going to be a good thing, but like I just don't want to talk to bots. Like I want to talk to people, and I don't even interact with the bots most of the time. I just immediately say, speak to an operator, speak to an operator, speak to an operator, just because the bots are terrible.
This is why this is interesting. Again, this is at least the customer one. This is not bots. This is just letting these customer service agents, the representatives that you're talking to, have a more clear version of the data they're working with, get to know you more quickly.
I see. Okay.
Which is I think a big improvement, because a lot of the issues I ever have when I talk to customer service reps, like, oh, the system is down, or I can't see this, or it's taking a while. So having a better system overall, especially in that aspect, I think will be a big improvement.
Yeah, I'll have to do a little more research to comment further, but it's interesting. We'll see what happens.
It's a trend I think going on with a lot of tech companies, and I think you'll see more tech companies buying these like customer service focused startups. But we'll see. Next thing on the agenda. This is a big one. So now we're getting into the Apple type of news, right? There's a lot. A lot of things that have happened in Apple. Some very small, some very big, some in the middle. But let's start off with something that's really interesting, and it's Amazon actually. So Amazon Web Service is bringing the Mac Mini to their Amazon Computer Cloud. So this means for the first time ever, Amazon is bringing Mac OS to its AOS cloud service. So this means that there will be new Mac Mini instances available in their EC2 instances, which allows developers to create apps for iPhones, iPads, Macs, all within their cloud services, right? Now, according to the mention, these new EC2 instances for Macs are all powered by Intel-based Macs. So So it's 3.25 gigahertz processor with 32 gigs of RAM. And you're allowed to upgrade it to 10 gigabytes VPC network bandwidth and 8 gigabytes storage bandwidth, right? So pretty good. However, they did comment and they said they will be working to add in M1 Max to this service. So give it a little bit of time, maybe by next month or 2 months from now, you will see the new Mac Minis coming into effect.
I think this is, from a business perspective, a win-win-win all around, right?
Yeah.
For three reasons. One, it's a huge win for Apple because you just onboarded a huge, commercial consumer of these products, right?
Yep.
So now that Amazon's doing this, you bet your ass Google and Microsoft are going to be right behind Apple trying to get a Mac OS system onto their servers, right?
100%.
So that's the first thing. Second thing, it's nice that Amazon is the pioneer for this, because if the other two huge cloud providers, Google and Microsoft, see that this is going to take off, right? They're going to be like, hey, we're going to get behind that too, which means A, more money for Apple, but B, more consumer choice going all around, right?
Yeah.
And 3, the biggest one out of all this, I think it's a huge win for the consumer, right? Why? Because now for the first time, you actually have remote access to a Mac machine that is not yours, right? You have access to build iOS or Android apps or do anything Mac specific related by just getting an Amazon EC2 instance and building on the Mac OS right there. So you're going to see a lot more development happen for Apple, a lot more Mac, iOS, and tvOS and watchOS development happen, all because this onboarding to EC2, because now there's a cheaper alternative to developing apps and programs for Mac because of this.
Mhm.
But for what are your thoughts here?
I'm actually fully on board with this. I think this is going to be dope. Like you said, I just see it as a win-win-win all the way around for everybody. For just as a quick example, right? Like you guys know that I went out and I bought a Mac specifically for a web app, or not for web app, for a mobile app development class we took.
I was just thinking that. Yep.
And had this been an option, and I could have just went and for maybe $200, been able to rent out some compute instances for a couple of months to do my work, I wouldn't have had to spend the $1,500 on a MacBook. So, at least for me, this would have been a win. For Amazon, that would have been a win. For Mac, for Apple, maybe it would have been a slight loss, but in long term, if it was a good service, I might have used it long term for something else as well. So, who knows?
I think another thing you should also remember is that a lot of these people who are going to be using these services are people who either are kind of iffy about the Mac ecosystem, right?
Yes, exactly.
And this is another long-term win for Apple because they're going to get developers who, similar to who was like, doesn't really own a Mac hardware, but needs it for class or something, or needs it for some sort of project.
Or is
what I like
in building mobile apps for Apple, but just doesn't want to spend the money.
Yeah, exactly. You might work on it a couple of times, spend the money hourly to use this, and you're like, what, I really like this kind of type of work. I really like this kind of field. I gotta invest in a Mac machine, and there you go. Apple just got another customer into the bag. So I think it's a win. Like Ford said, I think it's it's a win-win-win all around. Anyway, let's move on to the next one.
Yep.
Right. And this is relating to the iPhone. So there's a huge warning issued for a lot of iPhone 12 users. So if you bought an iPhone, if you bought an iPhone 12, you're one of the first ones. Sad to say, there's already big problems on the horizon for you.
Called it.
Big one is the range. Simply to say, the range of the iPhone 12. So picked up by Apple Insider, thousands of users are speaking out about the dynamic power drain that the new iPhones are having in standby. So literally, they're not doing anything. They're putting the new iPhones down. They just got a new iPhone. You're happy. Yes, I got the new iPhone. You put it down. Go do your stuff. Right.
Come back. Phone's dead.
Phone's pretty much dead. Rates are saying the actual discharge rate is vary from between 4 to 15% per hour on standby.
Wow.
So that's based on comments based across
Say that again. What is it?
Between 4 to
15% discharge on standby
per hour.
Oh man.
So that's like nothing. That's usually you turn on sleep mode, putting it down, not touching.
So did 4 call this back in our 5G tech episode?
I think so. Pretty sure
it could be. They're still speculating what the source of this huge discharge can be. It could potentially be what we talked about the 5G network, draining it. But nothing has come out of it yet.
I think that's likely true. It's the only difference.
All I'm saying, if it is the 5G network, you heard it here first on the 429 podcast, and 4 would gladly take a job at Apple as a network engineer. I'm just saying,
it is definitely a possibility. It's sad to say, but if you're a new user of the iPhone 12, you're already facing issues, and supposedly there's just no real fix for it. I think we kind of speculate this is probably a hardware issue, so you're kind of stuck with it.
I'll tell you what they're going to have to do. Apple's going to have to go ahead and form a partnership with Tesla and get Tesla's new battery technology to put in their phones. Bam.
Ooh,
so win-win.
Just imagine carrying the next iPhone. It comes with a Tesla battery. Just you can power your car and your phone at the same time.
Comes with a free car.
Yep.
All right.
Low-key though, I'm just saying, if we were right about this, you guys all heard it here first, and make the 429 podcast go viral. I would love to see it. And 4 is gladly willing to take a job at Apple for a couple $1,000 an hour.
Let's move on. Another big hurt for Apple. More lawsuits are coming its way, specifically in Europe. So if you guys remember the whole slowdown gate that happened here in the United States.
Slowdown gate? Oh, the updates, right?
Yeah, the updates that made your old iPhone slower. We reached a settlement. People got $20-$30, right? Well, now the European side wants their slice of the pie, and they're fighting for the same action. So Euro Consumer and Advocate Group is bringing the action, said in a settlement Wednesday that they want this class action lawsuit to cover up to 2 million iPhone 6, 6 Plus, 6S, 6S Plus devices in Spain, Italy, Portugal, and Belgium.
Wow.
So they're kind of mirroring the same class action lawsuit that Apple had in the United States that led to the proposed settlement of $500 million in March. This time though they won a difference. They have been having attempts to resolve this with Apple, and it's been unsuccessful. Right now, they said they're seeking basically a rate of €60 for an average for each consumer. So I think we got about $20, right? I think that was they want 60.
Yeah, roughly.
They want 60. So €60, which is about $72.
Is that before or after the lawyer cut?
I think that's after the lawyer cut. That's literally what. So that's exactly what they want. They're stating their law on the fact that it happened on the American side, and this whole slowdown gate affected them too. So they want the same compensation to happen. So what do you guys think?
Well, why is it just those 4 European countries? Out of curiosity, do you have any information on that?
This is just what the advocate group we're targeting as like main headers. No particular reason. These groups are just I guess what they represent, who their representing consumer base is.
Okay.
So that's just that which is a primary thing that they lay down in their statement. Those are the main ones. That's pretty much it.
Cool. Ford, what are your thoughts here?
Dude, I am always for seeing them get hit with more fines for doing unethical stuff like that, like purposefully slowing down phones. Like that was by far one of the craziest things that has ever been done, and like I feel like it just got brushed under the rug and like everywhere. So I mean, I'm pretty happy to start seeing them get some more fines on that because, I mean, I bought the hardware, I purchased it, like it was already mine, and like they have no right to purposefully slow down stuff I own. So
you're happy about it? I mean, like I said, I mean it happens. I expect some sort of negotiation from Apple. Most likely
I think they'll probably end up settling back down to the $20-$30 number that the U.S. accepted.
Probably.
Right?
They said they're strong on that though. That they want a more than just 20% that they gave to us. They're really strong about that for their consumers. So we'll see. Maybe they live. They're honored to their word, but we'll see. I think we're gonna be seeing this type of lawsuit happening more and more across the world as time goes on. Anyway, let's move on. This one I think is gonna be really interesting to you guys, knowing you guys, and that is the fact that one man is trying to bring Linux to the M1 Max. And he wants your help. He wants your help. So this man, Hector Martin, he wants to port a full usable version of the Linux operating system to the new Macs running the Apple Silicon chips, and he needs your help. So this man, he's known across the Linux community for porting Linux to pretty much everything. The PS4, he ported it to that. The PS3, he did it as well. The Wii, he has done it. This man has made it his mission for some reason to port Linux on every single device you can think of, and he wants to do.
Linus must love this man.
He must. He says he wants assistance. Now, the type of assistance is not what you think. He's not asking for tech assistance. Actually, he's asking for financial for the assistance. So the man wants assistance from the public, bringing his operating system to Macs. He's adamant about the project. He says his goal is to bring. His quote, the goal is to bring Linux support on Mac Silicon Macs to the point where it's really not a tech demo, but it's an actual OS that you would want to use on a daily driver device. He said since these devices are brand new and bespoke silicon, porting Linux to them is a huge undertaking, well beyond a hobby project. It is a full-time job. So because of that, he's looking for enough donors to have at least $4,000 a month. He's asking for you to donate to his Patreon and subscribe to it to at least get that minimum number to pursue this goal.
My dude's asking for $4,000 a month. You could get 4 freaking Mac Minis with that. Like,
well, like he said, he's saying that this type of project is a huge undertaking. It's going to require a lot of his time. It's pretty much going to be a full-time job for him, right? So that's what he's basically saying. The amount of hours he needs to put into it.
That's great, but like, 4,000 is a lot of money, man. Like, we broke over here. Like,
I mean, that's what he's saying. He's saying he'll be reverse engineering. He'll be
reverse tech assistance.
He said he'll be reverse engineering the Apple code, so this project won't break any laws. And he says Kubernetes does not block unsigned custom kernels from booting on Mac Silicon Max, so it's a huge possibility.
He just needs to get some corporate sponsor. I feel like that'd be so easy.
Hit him up.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Who handles all of your Linux stuff right now? Who builds Ubuntu, right? I know these are all open source things, but all of this stuff isn't free. Someone's got to be having some money get funded somewhere.
I think a lot of it is actually fan community supported, so people actually donate to these things. I don't think there is actually a corporate fan into Ubuntu and all those. I think there actually are, and it makes sense because Martin launched his Patreon project back in March, and he already reached 90% of it on the first day. So,
All right, so he's good.
Yeah, he's pretty much good. But it's just interesting to see already people want to bring Linux to this new silicon chips. What do you guys think about it? If this is a success?
Oh, I think it would be a good thing overall. Having more options, being able to load up in your own custom Ubuntu image on your Apple Silicon chips, like, always a plus. I don't being stuck on only Apple software is not a good thing at all. What happens if you want to do something Apple doesn't support or can't support? What are you just stuck now?
Pretty much. So, I mean, I personally want to see this come to fruition. I think it would be really interesting to see where this goes. I mean, Linux. I mean, I always think that Linux is the one OS that should be run on everything, just because it's such a great OS to run from, and so it's so dynamic. It can be used for small scale things, large scale things, and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. I would love to see it. Plus, with the power that the silicon chips have already proven that they can do, it'll be really fascinating to see how fast and how improved Linux can be.
Absolutely.
Anyway, let's move on. We're running out of time, so let's hit our major stories. And Thor, you're gonna love these last couple of stories because these are all security focused stories. So there was a lot of security focused stuff, specifically vulnerabilities that really hit. And there was one last surprise story that I think is more of a good send off for the day. First of the group. There was this huge iPhone vulnerability that was discovered. I don't know if you guys heard of Project Zero.
That's Google's security team.
Yep. So Google researcher has discovered a huge iPhone vulnerability that allowed hackers complete control. You read on this. I knew you read on this. So this man, Ivan, is a security researcher for Google vulnerability detecting initiative called Project Zero. He said on Monday in a blog post that he spent 6 months of 2020 trying to uncover an exploit, which he was able to gain complete control over any iPhone in his vicinity. In layman's terms, for anyone who out there who doesn't know this type of technology, essentially he's been in layman's terms, he basically had a buffer overflow in the packets that he sent over Wi-Fi.
That's layman's terms?
That's layman's terms. I can't get any more simple. It gets really in depth. I highly recommend anyone who wants to see this. He has a blog post on Google's Project Zero website. Very in depth stuff. He goes extremely in depth with everything. He has a demo of the exploit being worked. It's really fantastic. He literally has a teddy bear pretending to be the attacker and another teddy bear being the victim, and he has the victim take a picture and then delete it. And using this exploit, he can essentially grab a copy of that deleted phone in the attacker's laptop through a Wi-Fi.
That's nuts. Oh, man.
Now, for anyone who's out there, panicking, throwing their iPhones away and yelling at Apple, what's going on? It's all fixed. Because, Google worked closely with the corporations that are vulnerable to this. They already echoed this long time ago. It was actually fixed back in iOS, I think 13.5 in May. Which was at the time where they included that contact tracking feature for COVID.
Yeah.
That's when actually they released the patch for this. So this was way under. He was researching this way underground, and he didn't reveal any of his findings until recently. But this has already been patched. Apple already notified it. Your iPhones are safe. No need to worry about.
You know what's pretty funny, or not funny, but just like a little. Let me just say it. Then we can decide what it is exactly. I can't think of the word, but since he was working for Google's security research team, he's not going to get any of the bug bounty payout, and that would have been probably $1 million payout for bug bounty.
Yeah. So I read about this. I read about this. It's about I think it was at least 500,000 or up to $1 million or maybe even more. He said in a statement that if Apple could what's it called, do him a solid, he wouldn't even want the money. He would want Apple to donate that amount of what the bounty was worth to charity.
Mm-hmm.
So Apple hasn't responded to this yet. because this is all very recent. It's only been made publicly recently.
Oh, I think that they will. If his statement gets mainstream and he just wants it donated, I'm positive that it will get donated. I think
I really hope it does.
$1 million to big companies like that is nothing, and the amount of good publicity they'd get is well worth it.
I think Apple should do it. Apple, if you're somehow listening for some reason, hi, I love you. Please do it. I think it would be great. I think it's a win-win-win. We don't really see a lot of win-win-wins in the industry, so I think it's really worth it. Everyone got saved, all the iPhones. Now, he did say that this was in the wild for a couple of months, right? So it is possible, these big security hacker groups, with the resources they have and the people they have, they could have found out about this, kept it hidden, and had been attacking. Of course, you also have iPhones out there in the wild that are not updated to the latest version, so that could be also an issue. So he's not unsure that what's the scale of the vulnerabilities out there in the wild, but he's saying if he can find it, that means he believes someone else could, right? So take that as you want.
That's humble.
That's humble.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the last security thing, and then one last final send off. Brazil got really hit hard.
Oh gosh.
So Brazil had a huge exploit where the data of 243 million Brazilians were exposed online via a simple website source code. So essentially the personal informations, including live or deceased citizens, were exposed online after website developers left the password for a crucial government database inside the source code of an official Brazilian website.
Someone's modifying production code and just not cleaning up after themselves, man. Let me tell you.
So this was on for at least 6 months, according.
Oh my god.
The security snafu was discovered by reporters actually from the Brazilian newspaper. The same newspaper also discovered last week that São Paulo hospital leaked personal and health information for more than 16 million Brazilians COVID patients after an employee uploaded a spreadsheet with their usernames, password, and access keys to sensitive government systems on GitHub.
God damn, do they not have
Someone needs to use a git ignore. Come on, man. What's going on
here?
here?
So Brazilians are hitting really hard the last couple months, and a lot of people, chances are if you live in Brazil right now, sadly your personal information is probably out in the wild right now.
You see, this is why I've transitioned away from like git add dot, and I've been manually adding files to be committed myself now one by one as needed. Which is way safer, and I make sure I don't accidentally push stuff I don't want to push.
Yeah, it's huge. This to be more specific, the login information that was leaked allowed them to access to the SUS, which is this essentially this official database that the government uses in Brazil, right? It has it stores all information, all Brazilians who sign up for the country's public funded healthcare system, right? And if you have access to this, you pretty much have access to everyone's information.
Is it just because the SUS kind of sus? I mean, it's
it's very sus. It's very sus. To give you an idea how vulnerable these guys are, since the website source code was accessible, it was accessible and reviewed by anyone that could just press F12 inside their website.
No. Oh, no.
That's it. That's all it took. It was right there. And that was it. A similar leak was also found in the source code of their SUS notification, which is a web portal where Brazilian citizens can sign up and receive government official notifications of COVID. And they found out that the source code of that website contained a URL and password stored in base64, an encoding format that can be easily decrypted.
Well, I will say this to the Brazilian people. Welcome to the club. We got stolen by Equifax the other day. We gladly see you here now. You may get some strange emails from, Japanese, Chinese, or North Korean governments. Just please delete them, and you should be good to go.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a tough fight. If any unauthorized right now, the good thing is that there hasn't been any unauthorized access from anyone, any malicious party discovered yet. Somehow, as far as I know, in the 6 months, no one has walked into that open door. If it is discovered, this will be the largest security breach in the country's history.
Look, for a group of people who just never realized that they put a production password inside the system, I don't have that much faith that they don't know if they actually got hacked or not.
Yeah. So I would say, best of luck. That's the uphill battle for you guys. I don't know. I don't know really how.
Y'all screwed here.
I mean, we face this, like Tu said, we face this situation no more. Once that thing's out there, it's out there. It's almost impossible to lock those doors again. But hopefully we'll get more information. Hopefully nothing malicious come out of this, and hopefully this was just one big snafu that somehow didn't break through. Anyway, I know we're all pretty much ahead of time, but I do want to hit you guys with this one last story. I think this is a really nice send off with, how the year has been.
Bonus story.
Bonus story.
Bonus story.
With the year, with the way the year has been, it's important to remember the success that humanity has, right? And humanity had one big success that I think a lot of people are not known, didn't hear about, and that's pretty much how AI has cracked a big problem that stumped biologists for 50 years.
Interesting. Okay,
and
go
this
on.
is a huge deal. So, DeepMind, I'm sure you guys heard of DeepMind, right?
Yep.
Google's AI research lab, and now an independent part of Google's parent company Alphabet announced a major breakthrough this week, where one biological evolutionary biologist said it's a game changer. So they said that DeepMind has, using their AI system AlphaFold, has solved the protein folding problem, right?
Okay.
It's a challenge of biology that's pretty much confused and befuddled scientists for 50 years. So we all know what proteins are. They're the basic machines that get work done in our cells.
Mm-hmm.
They start out with strings of amino acids, that type of thing. Think of amino acids as beads in a necklace, but soon they have to fold up into a unique 3-dimensional shape, right? That's your protein, right? Now, this 3D shape is crucial because it determines how the protein works, right? If you know how the shape is formed, if you're a scientist, you can come up, if you're developing a new drug, you want to know how this protein shape is because it will help you come up with a molecular that can bind to this new protein. And thus you're allowed to alter its behavior, right? The problem is that predicting what a shape of protein can take is extremely difficult, right? Mm-hmm. And this is the issue that befuddled biologists for so many long. So every 2 years, researchers who worked on this problem had tried to prove how good their predicted powers are by doing a conference called the CASP. Essentially, it's a 2-year conference. All these biologists come in. They say, I think I figured out I can predict how well the protein will fold, and they do this huge competition against each other, right? In 2018, Google's DeepMind worked and basically reigned supreme, right? They beat a lot of people's they beat the competition there. They pretty much outfolded the competition and proved that they were able to have the best prediction.
But did it beat folding at home is the question.
I mean, but the thing is that back then it didn't really solve the issue. It had a better success rate with its predictions than most other competitors. But this year and just recently, they completely have was able to predict with impressive speed and accuracy what shapes strings of amino acids can fold into. So this is just a huge win for all around for AIs, biologists in general, humanity. Right? For humanity, thank you for humanity. This is as one person said, this will change medicine. It will literally change research. It would change bioengineering. It would change everything. So this is huge.
Right? This is going to be probably huge, okay? Because you have these relatively new vaccines coming out now, right? These mRNA type of vaccines that rely essentially all on protein-based RNA data. And I mean, if you can completely understand how the proteins in a virus works, and then they have a vaccine that can kind of use the genetic makeup of those proteins in order to defeat viruses, you might be able to quickly map a virus out and then quickly build an mRNA vaccine for it. I mean, you could probably have a functioning vaccine within like 30 days if you could do all of this all at the same time.
Exactly. So it's really huge. This is a huge undertaking. You're talking about a huge breakthrough, right? And I think it's important, like I said earlier, to recognize the success when it really comes and reflect how far we have come. This is also a huge win for AI, who in the past has been in huge success in like chess and game and stuff like that. But now they really take on a field that's sadly needed some sort of AI improvement and AI performance, and medicine was one of them, and they were able to tackle it. Now this shows how powerful the DeepMind is. And one thing to remember also is that their system is all about having different AI systems. So the system actually uses different AIs for different problems, and that's why it has such impressive speed and performance. I mean, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to end this Techcast with a really nice send off about humanity and how far we've come. This is really going to change a lot of things.
Techcast with AI. I am never opposed to ending Techcast with anything machine learning or AI related. I will tell you that firsthand.
I'm just saying. I mean, maybe if AIs get so good, maybe the AIs in the future create Techcast itself. I'm just saying.
We just got replaced.
All right, guys. Anyway, this is the end of Techcast. What is this? Techcast 19? I can't.
18. I think. I think it's 18.
18.
It's someday.
19, something.
It's
like
a number. Higher than 5, but less than 5.
Remember, you can always check us out in our social medias at the 429 Podcast on all major platforms, as well as on our website, the429podcast.com. Other than that, we will see y'all next week in the next episode of Techcast. So, thank you.
Bye. Take care.